Welcome back to Project Brupeg.
We've taken a sunken fishing trawler and converted her to a community-funded expedition and research boat crewed by volunteers from around the world.
Because life's too short not to fight for your dream.
So what's your plan to hold the timber into the wall?
We will glue it, but in order that this can stay. So I will do it in French, it's easier. Alors, donc on va percer un trou en haut et en bas du bois. On va presser fort et de l'autre côté, tu vas venir insérer une vis là où on a poussé les trous et comme ça, on va pouvoir presser la colle au milieu.
Simple. So that we can get the solar stuck down to the forward cabin roof on Brupeg, we need to go over a couple of rust spots that have come up through the paint that we put on 18 months ago. This cabin roof was never prepped as well as the rest of the boat, and it's showing. There's a couple of areas that we need to work on. Nothing dramatic, but time for Carlos to get up there with the needle gun, the sander, and get into it. So anywhere where there's like a dimple or a loose paint, just go and give that a knock. It's basically rust underneath, and it's pushing the paint up.
So they re-etch it?
Yeah,
and then
then we'll re-etch it, and then we'll paint the whole thing. Sides are mostly okay, but we're gonna sand these, and we're gonna repaint. And up here, we're possibly gonna sand. We're not 100% certain yet. So we'll sand this front face here because we've got like dust and overspray and 18 months worth of boat work sort of all over here. So we're gonna clean that up because we're gonna potentially put panels up here, so like the stick-on solar panels. So we need a good paint surface for that. But what we need to do is figure out where we're gonna have the line between the new paint and the old paint, because there's gonna be a transition somewhere. So what we're thinking is bring it right around the side here and around by the window just down here, have the gap between old and new paint over here, because the window is going to bond onto the outside of the cabin and it'll hide most of that, so you don't have to have like a weird line showing up. Hello. You finished? Nice. Are you onto the big drill? Whoop whoop. Yeah, cool.
We're doing some needling on the front of the boat today. Very fun. I'm gonna break for lunch, so I heard the trumpet call, and get back and do some etching.
It goes on the inside that closes, so any fat and shit runs.
This is your barbecue.
Hey!
This is the list.
This is boat lunch. A little leftover salad, a little leftover there, a little dinner. This is probably loud. There we go. Alright, leftover chicken. This we got cauliflower. This is ran through the blender to kind of chop up small. That's for Jess. Butter on deck all the time. A little salad from yesterday.
So up front, Margaux has been doing stack insulation. So this is the editing studio that Jess edits in. So you can sort of see all of these walls are getting insulation layers put in. So each layer is 60mm thick, or just over 2 inches, 2.5 inches, something like that. So it gets 2 layers on every external wall. So that's the first layer, and you can see those ribs. It's building up. You'll get a second layer on those. 2 layers on these guys here. So every single external wall is getting 2. This is a single layer that I put in ages ago around the walls here, and you can kind of see, you know, just how far out it sticks. And one layer knocks about 10 degrees when it's direct sunlight. It takes about 10 degrees off. We did some experiments a while ago with a thermometer. But one of the things we're trying to do is gut this end of the room. So you see we've got one of the shelves, we've got the desk, we've got one of the old editing computers. We need to soundproof this room because it's really impossible to edit in here while the rest of the boat's running. So we've got, you know, noise in the kitchen. The kitchen galley is right behind this wall. So you can see editing studio and galley. So when you're doing normal stuff, you close the editing door, you got a big hole at the top that all the noise comes over. You got a steel wall which doesn't really have any insulation, so all the noise just bounces through. So that's today's job, is to basically make this as quiet as we can, because the boat is getting noisier as we get more work done. Jess needs a quiet editing studio, and at the moment Jess has got a temporary editing studio down here. So this is the engine room here. If I spin around, you've got the freezer and the storage area over there. We've got a tiny little desk that's been set up. So this is Jess and my room and Birk's room in the downstairs area. So come back and get you some orientation. There we go. So it's pretty small down here, but she's currently buried in this area editing for the next couple of weeks while the studio is sorted by Margaux. Once that's done, we're going to spin around, and over on this side everything's piled up. That's our engine room door. We're about to climb in there and start doing a stack of work in there. Margaux's going to be working on this side, getting all the shelving and storage on this part built so that we can basically clear this out ready to go to sea, and the editing studio will be done when that's starting to be worked on. So the reason we're focusing on getting the editing studio up top done is because we're about to make a hell of a lot of noise over the next 6 weeks. Jess can't edit where she is right here because it's going to be right next to the noise, because in the engine room we're about to start fitting our engine. So we've started a bit of a tidy up so that we can get some space, but these blocks are not actually permanent enough for us to be able to leave them there. We actually have to take them out, and that entails dropping the gearbox and the engine down about maybe 6, 8, 10 inches, something like that. So today's job is getting this thing lined up. Sure, it won't be that big a job. We'll probably knock it over in 20 minutes. So the first thing we need to do, these original gearbox mounts, we don't think we can reuse those. We think that the platform here is going to be too low. We think we're going to have to raise it up here somehow. So we're not 100% certain on that. So what we're going to do is lift this whole gearbox and engine up together, take these off, take the blocks out. We're going to come down here to the engine bed. You can see this little white piece of steel sticking out here. We're going to cut that out. So that has to be basically plasmed off so that we can drop the gearbox down to the height that it needs to sit. You can sort of see between the center here and the center down here, where there's probably maybe good 10 inches at least. So there's a fair whack that this gearbox has to drop down. So that's today's job, is getting the gearbox down into position. It's possible that might take us longer than 20 minutes. So I'm setting up the lifting with a chain block. I've got a 2.5 ton chain block up there, and I've got a 1 ton chain block up there. But it's pretty noisy because that thing is firing away in the background trying to ventilate the room, mainly because the air compressor over the back there is going flat stick. Up on the front deck, getting ready for the front solar panels to go down, is Carlos. He's sanding the front. We're getting 2 layers of new paint on that cabin, and then we're putting the panels straight on top. So we're ready to lift. We've got our big chain block connected to chain, which goes, you see 2 rated shackles. It goes right around the gearbox. I'm not lifting off the factory lifting points, mainly because I need the center of gravity slightly further forward to counteract the motor, but also when this got lifted into the engine room, the crane operator said they don't really trust using these because they can sometimes come out. So I'm going to take their word for it and do the same as what they did. They wrapped around this part of the gearbox. So I want to protect the engine and the paintwork on the engine and the gearbox. I'm using just a bit of cardboard as a bit of a shield. This chain gets pretty aggressive when it's smashing up and down on paint. So I don't have to go up very far. I've only got to go up maybe, I don't know, half an inch, something like that. What's that, 12 mil? I just got to nip it up so I can get those blocks out. Then I'm going to drop the engine down so I can assess what we actually need to do. I'll probably go up and down a few times with this gearbox today when, you know, Birk and Jess are doing a supply run at the moment. When the guys get back, we'll get into it. I'm just doing the prelim setup and doing a bit of an assessment as to what we need to do today. Okay, 3. See?
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So if it jams, just give it a I'll give it a jams, give it a 3. Alright guys, let's go up, slow. Keep going on the front. Okay, that's good. Do you want to see if we can get these blocks in? So they want it.
And the metal thing or no?
No, that stays there. Okay, we're going to get that block out as well. So can we, it has to go forward, I think. Okay, just get that out of the way either. That goes. Okay, and let's get this guy here as well. It really did it, it jammed it against the needle.
Can you move it that way or that way?
Maybe.
On. It's jamming again.
Nice.
It's alright, too tight. So, now we're going to drop the whole thing down. I want to go sideways. Can we go over there somewhere? Because I need to pull the whole thing that way. Okay, can you just pull up that a little bit? Okay, wait. Yeah, a little bit more. Bit more. Wait.
Good.
So that's where we're sitting central on the gears prop shaft. Alright, I want to come down, so you'll need to ease as she goes down, you'll need to ease on that. Can we bring it down gently? So come down gently.
Just her?
Or both?
Both for now. But try and match each other. Okay, both come down. Keep going down, Margaux. Come down, keep down. Yeah. Keep going. Down we go. Yeah, keep going down. Stop. So can you go up slightly? Can you go your way?
Yep.
We've got to mark out where we've got to cut, and this tells us enough right now, so we can just start drawing.
But you have to cut more here.
Yeah, I'm
That's
thinking.
not enough right now.
No, I'm thinking we go right back to here, which is the.
Yep.
So let's cut. Oh, sorry. Let's cut down here. So we've got plenty of room, and let's cut along the here, which is the hull.
Yep. And if we have to go forward a bit, maybe with the engine.
Prop shaft has to go forward 100 mil, so we need to go forward another 50 or 60 with the gearbox. You know what? That's not enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Let's come out here. So the gearbox is now down to where it needs to be cut. You can sort of see this black line that we've marked out. That's the area that has to disappear on the boat, and it's same story on this side here. You can see there's a black mark that needs to be trimmed off. This gearbox is quite a bit wider than the old gearbox. It's also quite a bit longer. It's probably at least double in terms of physical length that way. So the engine itself is pushed forward almost a foot. It does look like we can come back a little bit on the shaft, but that's actually not accurate. This shaft has to come forward about 100 mil, roughly 4 inches, something like that. So this gearbox still has to go slightly forward, about a bit over 2 inches or 50, 60 mil, something like that. So once we get it cut, we can then start lowering it and get the engine and gearbox moved forward and down, and we'll be closer to our final position. All right, guys, let's take it back up. So just, you right up at the front. Okay, stop. Just move your leg, just in case it drops. We can cut that. That's okay. We don't have to go further than that.
Yep. Should be secured somehow.
Osmo, stop recording. Or not.
Oh, I forgot it was voice command too. Yeah.
Osmo, stop recording. Osmo, end recording. Osmo, shut down. Osmo, like, listen, fuck's sake.
Carlos, try to see if it's an American accent.
Osmo, stop recording.
It's not American.
French?
Osmo, stop recording. Into the cutting. So these engine beds need to move. They're in the way. We're going to push them out to the side with a little bit of heat, plasma, and a little bit of engineering.
So one side's out, time to move over to the other, but things didn't quite go to plan. More on that next week. See you then.